Welcome to the podcast, Motherfuckers from Iceland. And today, my very good friend Ásthildur is going to be here chatting with us. Welcome, Ásthildur.
Thank you.
I've been abusing my friends to come here and talk to me so I can practice my skills at doing this. And I'm that fortunate that most of my friends have a huge and a very colorful history to them.
Yes. Great minds attract great minds, right?
And I think you are no exceptions from that.
Yeah.
You have had a wild ride.
Yeah, pretty
like
much.
Me, probably.
Yes. Exactly. That makes us cool people.
Yeah, I think
Motherfuckers from Iceland.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what I try to do usually is just to ask questions that I'm a bit curious about. Like, you grew up here in Iceland, right?
Mostly, basically. Yeah. I moved 14 years old. I moved to Portugal.
Okay.
Yes, and lived there for 5 years.
Okay.
So when I was 19, so I was working in bars in Portugal from like age of 16, which is basically illegal. So, you know, I'm old now, so nobody can like sue me.
Basically legal.
Basically, yes. No, and I was working at this bar. Like, have you seen the movie Coyote Ugly?
Yeah.
Yeah, where they're like barmaids dancing on bars, fire and shit.
Okay.
And that's what I was working at. But, you know, wearing full-on clothes.
Okay.
Yes.
Got that going for you.
Yeah. And me and my colleague, he was like, had awesome skills in like doing these flips with the bottles and stuff.
Yeah.
And so he would do that because it was like 3 bars, two on the ground floor.
Okay.
And then it went like stairs to the upside. And there was a bigger bar, like the main bar.
Okay.
Both of us were working there. So what we did is that we had like crazy shows. He took like alcohol, put it all over the bar, put it on fire, and I would dance on top of that shit.
Okay.
Yes.
That must have been hell of fun.
It was.
During that age.
Of course, you know, you're like 16 to 18 and all you want to do is like have fun.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, I actually got paid having fun.
Okay.
And that was great. And 19 years old, I met my ex.
Okay.
And he looked at me at the bar, and all of his friends used to call me the Ice Queen.
Okay.
Because I was so fed up with men that I didn't want nothing to do with them.
Okay.
And he said, he looked at me and said, "I'm gonna get you." And I was like, took like a big thing of ice, put it inside of his t-shirt, pressed it, and I was like, "You need to cool down," and walked away. So that made him even more crazy. And 3 days after we met, we got the same tattoo.
Okay.
Fucking crazy. You're 19 and stupid, right?
That's how that goes.
Yeah. And after 10 days of meeting, I had packed all my stuff, quit my job, said goodbye to my family. And
were you living alone at that time?
No.
With your family,
with my mom,
yeah,
stepfather, and my siblings.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I basically packed everything, said goodbye to everybody, and moved to France with this guy that I did not know at all.
Okay, solid plan is going on.
Solid plan. Like, yeah, really well thought through, right?
That's kind of where we're at that age.
Yeah.
We think we know everything.
Super spontaneous. It's like, oh, okay, he's handsome and, you know, he's got things going. Okay, let's try that out.
Sure.
I've never been to France and didn't speak the language at all.
Okay.
And like I said, after 10 days, packed my shit and left with that guy. So I lived in France also for 5 years.
Okay, how did that go? How was the transaction? Because by that time you probably spoke Portuguese.
I did.
And Icelandic.
Yeah.
And then moved over to France.
Yeah.
And then they're not the most welcoming talking other languages.
They're horrible people. Yeah. I'm sorry if any French people are watching this, but like, sorry, you're not my people. No, it's like, okay, Paris is one of the most visited city in the world regarding tourism. So I was getting so fed up with people, you know, ordering shit for me at restaurants So I was like, I'm an independent woman from Iceland and I can order my own shit. So I asked their, the waitress, do you speak English? And she looked at me and answered me in French. You're in France, you speak French. And I asked like my friends, like, what did she say? And they told me. I got so furious. It was like, okay, so you're gonna come to Iceland to visit and you're gonna have to speak Icelandic? Good luck with that.
Yeah.
And the language there is so weird. Like, I used to work in clothing store for gentlemen. And so the way that the language is weird is that glon means balls, and gant means gloves. So there I was at this gentleman's store trying to sell good winter gloves, but instead I was selling good winter balls, which is fucking pissed. Yeah. And also, like, French people, like, when they see blonde women, some of them get like crazy. And I was working on the main street at Champs-Élysées, and some guys were like really aggressive, like trying to speak to me, and I didn't like it. So they were like pulling me, and what I wanted to say is leave me. But actually what I said was lick me. So they were like group of people there, and they all started like laughing like crazy. And they were all like, oh yeah. And I was, oh my God, I hate your language. So it's basically lèche-moi and lâche-moi. It sounds exactly the same, right? It's not only me.
No, it's just a small variation there.
Yeah. So it's basically nonsense.
Okay. But you learned French though.
I did.
Yeah?
And I learned it by myself.
Okay.
Yo.
And how was the time there? Was it...
Good time?
Yeah?
No. This guy that was supposed to be my knight in shining armor basically turned out to be a dick.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. We had a little bit of technical difficulty. We lost our sound audio.
That happens with amateurs.
Yes. Thank you for that. But you're telling us you moved to France, and I was asking you if you had a good time there.
Yeah, and I told you that no, he turned to be a dick.
Yeah.
Turned out to be a dick.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
And he was a violent guy. That was the situation.
Yeah, very much so.
And did that start like just in the beginning of the relationship, or was everything fine in the beginning with small warning signs, or how?
Well, the thing is that in the beginning he kind of treated me like a princess.
Okay.
You know, like the first thing we did is that he took me to clothing stores and bought me all kinds of clothes and makeup and stuff like that, and kind of wanted to have me like as a trophy.
Okay.
So we would go out in like with his friends, of course. And looking back, it's like so weird. Like, I love to dance. I've always loved to dance.
Yeah.
And he would say, like, we would go out clubbing, and we had like always like a VIP table everywhere we went, and he would tell me, dance. So I would, go and dance, but he would say, just stay here.
Okay.
And, because I loved him so much, and, I wanted him to be proud of me. That's basically what I was screaming, like, I'm here, I'm good,
Yeah.
I'm a catch, love me.
Mm-hmm.
So I would try to be this perfect wife. And, so I would dance in front of him, and then he would say, sit.
Okay.
And I would have to sit.
Okay, that's weird.
Yeah, it's like the kind of like, with like a dog, teaching you stuff.
Yeah, but it's also understandable because you're in love, you want everything's going good.
Yeah.
And like, I can imagine the small warning signs are just easy to just brush off.
Of course, and plus, like at this situation, like I was so isolated, is that I didn't have nobody to to talk to or be like, is this normal? Like there was nobody there.
Yeah, you've moved to France, no connections with your family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it started off like that. And also like what he would use against me was that, okay, I was of course doing drugs and drinking a lot when I lived in Portugal. And he would tell me that he saved me, and without him meeting me, I would basically be selling myself on the streets. And you know, he basically made me feel like he gave me a life. He saw potential in me of being a respectable woman.
Okay.
And yeah, that's basically all I wanted, is that, you know, to be loved.
So what we all want.
Yes.
And when you're young, it's hard to see the difference, kind of.
It
Because
is.
you're just trying things out.
Yeah, and plus, like in these situations, is that they never start with, you know, beating you up.
And you were like 16, 17?
19.
19 then,
Yeah.
when you moved to France.
Yeah.
So you've been going on for some time in Portugal before that. Yeah.
Exactly. And in Portugal also is that they're a little bit behind. Like women there are inferior to men.
Okay.
So it's the same, idea that I went with in this relationship, is that he knows better.
Yeah, then you kind of fall into the social norm there.
Exactly.
Because it's quite different in Iceland.
It is.
But you don't realize how different social situations come into play.
Not at all. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're there in France, and has the violence become a regular thing when you move over there, or just?
Yeah. I mean, of course, like I said, it starts with the mental abuse, like making you feel like everything you say is wrong, everything you do is wrong, and just with like the language. He said that he was not going to pay the school, and I of course wanted to work.
Yeah, the French school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To learn the language, and he was like, I'm not going to do that. You just got to find a way. And I was like, okay, fine. Went to the bookstore, got all kinds of books with exercises and stuff, and then I bought audio CDs. And I was practicing there with headphones, and bonjour, and, trying to make these sentences. And the great thing with these CDs is that the lady says, I don't understand you, repeat.
Yeah.
So you have to get it like completely right. So in 6 months, I was fluent in French, sorry.
Well done.
Thank you. Yes. And I started working.
Okay.
But of course, because I didn't get as much money as he did, like not even close, then my job was basically considered a hobby. So it's like it doesn't motivate you really to have a career, to go somewhere, like, because no matter what you do, you're never doing it well enough. You're never doing it good. And they start to break you, like I said, mentally, and then starts the violence.
Okay.
And it was pretty rough. Like, of course, nobody likes to be beat up,
No.
but yeah, like it was to the point where I had to go to the hospital a few times. I had 3 broken ribs in my back. He ruined my muscles in the lower back. I got a broken nose, scar on my eyebrow, needed 6 stitches, just completely open. And at this point, it's like I was the one always coming to say I'm sorry, because he blamed it all on me.
Yeah, you were doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it destroys you. Like, it makes you turn basically into a ghost. Like, you don't know who you are. You don't know what you want, what you like, what your hobbies are. And it's not a good place to be at, really.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So the turning point was when I, got pregnant.
Yeah.
At the age of 23. And I gave birth to her at a French hospital. And they don't let the husband, sleep with you during the night. So it was just me and her. the first night. And like, God, she was gorgeous. Just
I can imagine, and that probably being the only human contact
yeah.
you had at the point that you trusted.
Exactly, and it was like a turning point to me just seeing her. Like we were laying, I had her in bed with me. I did not want to let her go, and I was just holding her and watching her the entire night. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but I'm gonna try my best, and I need to get you out of this situation, because at no point did I want a daughter, being raised with women are not good enough.
No,
We need to rely on men.
Mm-hmm.
We're not allowed to have our opinions. Like, fuck all that. I want her to be like the strongest woman on earth and show her that whatever you want to do, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that was the time when I actually got this big fire in me. I need to get you out.
Mm-hmm.
And when she turned 2 months old, I started seeking help with a lawyer. And she basically told me that because I didn't, press charges on him for the
domestic violence thing,
yeah,
then you had no case.
I had no case.
Oh.
And I was going to take a kid who has a French father who was born in France. I was Icelandic, and I was going to basically take her out of the country where she belongs to Iceland, and then what? I didn't have no proof that I was going to get a job.
Mm-hmm.
Her dad is actually pretty rich, and she said, sorry, you just don't have a case. There's basically nothing we can do. Unless he beats you up again, then you have to press charges, and then we have a case.
Yeah, which is also tough.
Yeah, I was basically just waiting on him to do something, like beat me up, so that I could get away.
Yeah. Well, it's a tough situation. And,
Yeah.
And you were stuck there for how long after that?
When she was 9 months old, our relationship had been so bad that I just felt good at sleeping at the guest room, and I had been doing that for 1.5 years. And I just didn't want anything to do with him. I was so fed up. And one time his father was visiting us from Portugal,
Mm-hmm.
staying with us, and he comes home, my ex, and he gives me a hug, and I froze. I didn't want nothing to do with him. And he looked at me and said, what do you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at him and I was like, I just want to go home. And he didn't say anything, just turned like ice cold, went into the living room with his dad. I stayed in the kitchen with my daughter, just, trying to play and have her with me. And then he said, hey, come here. So I went. And he said, we found a flight for you to Iceland. And this was on Friday evening. So I couldn't even call my lawyer or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, we found you a flight Sunday morning. If you want to have any chance of seeing your daughter and being with her, you have somebody in Iceland with an Icelandic credit card to pay you the flight. You take your daughter and you go. And I was like, fuck no, I know exactly what you're going to do. You're gonna try to charge me or sue me for, kidnapping.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, whatever we do is none of your business. If you want to have any chance, you do this. So basically they forced me to take this decision, and I talked to my mom and my dad, and they split the cost. And I took my kid to Iceland. What I came home with was basically 3 suitcases of summer clothes, and that was it. No money, nothing.
That's a tough situation.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Iceland's not a cheap country.
It's not,
No.
not at all. And for a while, I was at that time 24 with a 9-month-old baby, waiting for the Interpol to come and just, putting me into jail in France,
Mm-hmm.
because I knew that that's what they were trying to do. And like the nights were not really peaceful, and just trying to do the best out of everything. And
I can imagine there's a lot of recovery that needs to happen after a situation like that. I can imagine.
It is like you come completely broken, and you are just so petrified of everything. Like just at my job at the time, like everything was scary.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I tried, and I started seeking help very early. I talked to a lady in the Red Cross,
mm-hmm.
and they provided me help.
Okay.
For I think it was 12 times. And the lady that I spoke to, she was, you know, so lovely. I thank her so much. She actually gave me 20 times instead of 12, because she was like so amazed on like how I did things, like
mm-hmm.
brought my kid here, and also so I had, when I came here, I started talking to a lawyer in Iceland
mm-hmm.
to see what are my rights, like can I get full custody of my kid? And she said that I couldn't do it because there had never been like a judge coming to the case.
Mm-hmm.
And she said she's an Icelandic how do you say it? Resident?
A resident, yes, or citizen.
Yes, citizen, through you.
Yeah.
And as long as you keep her in Iceland, you go by Icelandic law.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you take her to France or she goes somewhere, then you are basically going through the French law system.
Okay.
So with these kind of men, usually is when a woman leaves, is like a big kick in the balls. So they feel small, and the woman won.
Mm-hmm.
And he couldn't take it. So he was always trying to get me back. Like for a while, he called me and, you know, I'm sorry. And I was like, I'm sorry too, just trying to play along
mm-hmm.
to get him here. And one time he decided to come. I came to Iceland June 24, 2017. And he came in August to visit. And I asked him to send me his flight ticket through my email so that I could have evidence of him coming here. I didn't kidnap my kid.
Mm-hmm.
He came and visited her here.
Okay.
While he was here, I also took loads of pictures of us together, him and the kid, me and him, you know, with dates and stuff.
Yeah.
And when he left, I talked to my lawyer and I said, so these are the documents that I have.
Mm-hmm.
I did not steal the kid. He came and visited us. And she was like, you're tough. Like, that's amazing. Like, yes, he doesn't have a case.
Uh-huh.
And that was the turning point for me where I got like, I don't need to.
A breather.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to worry about Interpol coming.
Yeah.
I'm free.
Okay. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It takes balls.
It does. It does.
Because just being in this kind of situation in your own home country with your family around is pretty fucking hard.
It is.
Not to talk about in a foreign country with nobody.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Exactly. And like,
This
also
was 2007, right?
17.
17. That's.
No, 2007. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Time flies.
Yeah. Time flies. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Now when you're here and you're in Iceland and you have your daughter and you have a solid case now.
Yes.
And so what's the plan then?
At that time, I just started like, okay, I needed to create a home for us. Like I said, I just came home with few suitcases, no money, nothing, just basically starting over. And so I needed to get a job, which I did. I started working in a kindergarten.
Okay.
It was fucking horrible. Being a single mom with a kid yourself and trying to take care of other kids who are, you know, not nice. Yeah, it was hard.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, and like we lived in this small apartment and I needed to create a home.
Mm-hmm.
And I did, like, you know, I went to the Good Shepherd. I bought like, you know, stuff for the house. And then I would save up some money if I could, and I would buy the coffee table that I wanted. And, you know, just step by step, I was able to create the home that I wanted. And I'm actually, like, when I'm looking back, I'm like, you're actually kind of a strong woman.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I think you can definitely say that just to yourself without being lying.
Thank you. Yeah, I think so.
Because this is something that is very hard to do and come through and be able to do. It's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. And the sad story, like, about it is that, you know, when I lived in France and my daughter was born, there was like, you know, domestic violence, you know, thing happening where it was like a commercial, and it would say that every 3 days a woman dies from
Domestic abuse.
yes.
Okay, that's fucked up.
And it was so scary. I was like, fuck, I'm not going to die, you know, and have you be raised by this lunatic. Like, wow, I can't even imagine what kind of a person she would have been if she would be raised in that environment.
No.
Because I'm so proud of that kid today. She's amazing. She's like the best. Crazy. And also, I heard that it takes 7 to 9 times attempts for a woman to get out of these kind of situations before it actually is a success.
Whoa.
Yeah.
This is something you don't think about
No.
in your normal days or what's going on.
Exactly, because it like he knew me inside out from the beginning. He knew the only thing I wanted was to be loved, and you know, he would say all the things that I wanted to hear because he knew what I wanted to hear. You know, to like get me back. And there were times where I actually fell into that. I went to visit him a few times, and I actually was gonna get back to him. But as soon as I came back home, I was like, oh my God, I don't feel like, you know, somebody is like holding me down. Because I never felt like I could be myself around him. I was never good enough, and I was always doing something wrong. And yeah, I think I totally believe in this 7 to 9 times attempt.
Yeah, because it's... Yeah, I don't understand it quite, but this is the situation. Wives go back.
Yeah, and husband.
And
also,
husbands
yeah.
believe now it's going to be different. Now it's going to be...
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's difficult. Like, okay, I started dating other guys, you know, after a while. And there's just always this thing, because they are so charming, you know, the abusers, they can be so charming at times, like, that it's difficult to go to another relationship where things are just normal. Like, how do you cope with the normal after this? Because we were together for 5 years, and 5 years of like horrible abuse, where, the memories are just really not good. Like, he would treat the dogs better than he treated me. He would talk to them, and as soon as he would, like, I would try to have a conversation with him, he would basically say, fuck man, you're so stupid. So made you actually believe it. And, you know, a few times it was like, in France it gets very cold in the wintertime.
Yeah.
It actually goes to like below 0 pretty often. And he would let the dogs sleep inside and made me sleep in the garage where it was just like concrete on the floor, and just said, you be here tonight, and just locked the door from the inside. So I had nowhere to really go, and trying to keep warm, and just how somebody can do that to another human being, I will never understand.
No.
But maybe, you know, thankfully we don't understand it. That means that we are not psychopaths.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then you're here and you're starting a new life, and you're building a home, which is amazing.
Yes.
And then this is before I got to know you in the first.
Yes.
Before you and my wife Jonina became friends.
Yes.
And what's what's going on there? Is just life going its course, or?
I mean, you come to out of this, situation, and it sucks saying it, but you're like kind of going through like a PTSD kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, to be honest, I was not the mother that I wanted to be to my kid at times, and of course, I'm always like with the whip on me, so I make everything worse, what I did. But I wish I had done things differently. But at the end of the day, I was trying my best, my very best. And sometimes our best is not good enough. But I never stopped working on myself.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I thought that I had done done her wrong,
mm-hmm.
I apologized and
Mm-hmm.
really showed her that I do love you.
Mm-hmm.
And when my daughter was 5 years old, before that, I have to say, she's just the funniest thing ever. Like, she loves the swimming pool.
Mm-hmm.
So we would go swimming very often. And she really wanted to find me a boyfriend. So she was like my best wingman. And she's so social. Like, she makes friends like this. So she would go to the swimming pool, play with some kids, said, Mom, I'm going to find friends. And I'm like, okay, go right ahead. I just stay in the hot tub, whatever.
Yeah.
And, she found these kids and who were with her dad. And she would ask him like, hi, my name is Lisa. Do you have a girlfriend? And the dad was like, no. And she said, so this is my mom. Talk to her. We're going to go play. And I was like, oh my God, this is the most awkward thing in the world. And at the time, she was like from the age 3 to 4. Like, fuck my life. And this happened quite often, even in her preschool. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm not here.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when she was 5, I actually met my husband today, Jason, who is your guys' friend as well.
Yeah.
And he's basically the best thing that has ever happened to both of us.
Mm-hmm.
Always when I met somebody, because I was so stuck, with my kid, I was like, I'm not a one-person thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you want me and you want to take me, my kid is with me.
Mm-hmm.
She's 100% me.
Yeah.
And since she doesn't have a father, you would have to put on the father pants as well,
Mm-hmm.
and be a part of her life.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys actually are petrified of that shit.
Yeah.
But I didn't make it even an option.
No. I know what you're talking about. I had the same situation. I was alone with 3 kids when I kind of met Jonina, and I've been trying, and it's hard to be a single parent.
It is.
It's I had a lot of help from my family, which saved my ass.
Yeah.
But it's hard to be alone, and always it's just you. There's no breaks, there's no timeouts. It's just ongoing.
Also, it's lonely. Like, you can't really talk to nobody about, so what do you think about this kind of behavior? Or like, what should we, it's, you feel so lonely.
Mm-hmm.
And, when I met Jason, he kind of just, he says that he was like so scared of the kid. And, but he turned out to be, and he is an amazing dad to her.
Mm-hmm.
And she calls him dad. Always has. And and Jason, actually, after I met him, I kind of like realized I am a good catch.
Mm-hmm.
I am a cool person and funny, and today I'm so strong, and I don't really care about what other people think of me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the most, the freest that I have ever felt in my life.
Yeah, that's a good place to get to,
It
because life is nuanced. It's all kinds of stuff happening, and we were talking about this earlier in the break when we were having our technical difficulties. That we always compare ourselves to what other people make themselves look out to be.
Exactly.
And that's why I think it's important to have talks like this, because it's easy to judge when you're just watching from the outside. Why didn't she do that? And why did he do that? Because we're just trying our best, and we maybe don't know how.
Exactly, and you know, you go into life with the tools that you are given or you receive like from experiences, and you know, at the end of the day, we're just trying to be happy and have our own life. And luckily, when we were growing up, me and you know, we're kind of old. It's that we didn't have social media. Like before, it wasn't that easy growing up. You know, being a teenager was tough and all. But today, Christ, everything is like, everybody have the awesome life and everything is perfect. When life isn't perfect, there's nothing perfect about this life.
No,
You go through struggles and things are hard, and you know, everybody goes through stuff, and especially with teenage girls with this, you know, body image crap. Fuck it.
Yeah, I think it's turning out to be similar with guys also. It has changed. When we were growing up, girls' bodies mattered very much. Boys' bodies not so much, maybe a little.
Yeah.
But I think this is changing also, at least in Iceland.
It is.
The body image thing is a big part of how guys see them too. Teenage boys see them too.
It is.
I can see it with my kids. It matters.
Yeah, and it's scary, and you're like trying to like raise your kids like you're enough as you are, and you are amazing just the way you are, and nobody is perfect. And then showing them videos that you find on YouTube, like with the Photoshop, like how they do it, like showing them nobody looks like this, nobody can really look like that. So, you know, and I've done that a lot with my daughter, and she's like, she's finally embracing the way that she is, which I find amazing.
Yeah, it takes you a while. It took me half of where I am now just to get acceptance with myself and just thinking I was something, if you know what I mean. Just loving myself. And that's kind of just the beginning of kind of having a whole life. If you don't have that foundation, you're kind of screwed.
Exactly, and I totally agree with you there, because as soon as I started like accepting myself the way I am and how I am, and just, okay, I fuck up. And then what? It's okay. You know, and if somebody wants to talk about it, and if somebody wants to talk about me, you know, and then I'm just like, today, I'm like, oh my God, their life must be so boring that they need to find some topics to talk about. Okay, fine, talk about me. I don't give a flying fuck, you know. And I think, like you said, when you're free from that, that's when your life begins. That's when you start blooming.
Yeah, and then you can go pursue the things you want to do, and you're free to do so.
Exactly.
But you've done a lot of stuff. Like you and Jason, you opened up a studio, a tattoo studio of your own.
Yeah.
And it's been fun watching you guys do that, because you've been doing a lot there, and just with the promos and everything you do, it's kind of made it big.
Yeah.
So
it is, and you know, I think it's really true what they say. You know, what doesn't kill you make you stronger. And it is. It like, you know, what life throws at you, it's up to you what you mold it into.
Exactly.
So I look at myself, and I don't, you know, without like, I'm not, you know, if I'm bragging, that's cool. I don't care. But getting out of the situations that I did get out of, and also like I had gone through a lot of worse stuff, you know, during my childhood. I basically raised myself since I just was a tiny kid. And you know, what I chose with my therapist and all that stuff is that I use the tools that life gave me to make me stronger, to see that no matter what I want to do, I can do it. And if you have dreams, just follow them. What's the worst thing that can happen? That they fell? It didn't work out? Cool, then you just go and do something else. But at least you can say you tried. Yeah,
I think there's nothing sadder than just to have dreams and ignore it because you have to have a job.
Yes, exactly.
It's such a fucking trap.
It is, and it's
because
sad.
of course you need money and you need to have a home and you need to have these things, but if you don't allow yourself the space in your life to pursue your dreams, what the fuck are you living for that?
Exactly. And it's just very boring life.
Yeah.
Like we opened the tattoo studio in 2017, September.
Yeah.
With basically nothing. And Jason, he was like petrified and didn't want to do it. And the way I am, like just, okay, we're going to do stuff, like really active, kind of pushing him to it,
Sure.
Yeah, like in 2 years, it's amazing what the tattoo shop is today. And I'm so proud of both of us. And it's just, I could never imagine that the tattoo shop is where it is today. I could never, dreamed of that place.
Now you started out just with Jason and another tattooist.
Yeah.
Right.
Just 2.
Yeah.
And today we're 5. 5 artists. And also we're getting like regular guest artists from all over the world. We've won, a lot of trophies for our, from our artists. And like, wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, you can be crazy proud of it too, because it's not easy.
But it's not been like just an easy road.
No.
It's been like a huge roller coaster. And I actually had times where I was this close of just closing up the shop. But I'm the kind of person, I don't give up. I'm so stubborn. Like I'm gonna try until I die. And luckily, I mean, things do get difficult sometimes, but don't give up.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that matters.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're up to date, almost.
Yes. Yeah.
It's been very nice talking to you, Ásthildur. And
Thank you.
sorry about the technical difficulties.
No problem.
We have to do 2 times now.
Yes. That's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. And I had fun.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.